Hi guys, and it's time for more passive concentration profession gold making videos. Now we've done quite a few of these videos now. We've covered every profession except for two, and they've been quite successful, been able to make quite a bit of easy gold over the long term with these. Now you kept asking me to do all the other professions basically, so that's what I've done. I've gone through, tried to cover them all, tried to make the best that I could with each profession. Today we are covering the last two professions that I haven't done already, and that is leatherworking and blacksmithing. Now I put quite a bit of effort into trying to get these to work, especially with leatherworking. So I even pushed to the point where I'm pushing profession skill up. I'm putting loads of knowledge points. I think I spent about 75, 80 knowledge points in the end, which is well beyond what I was spending with any of the other concentration builds, and the profit margins just were not great. I was trying to stack multi-craft loads because that sort of increases the amount of profit you do get from these crafts. Now I thought the armor kits might be a good way to go, and unfortunately the issue is the same issue I've talked about in some of the other concentration videos, where you have this huge price difference between the rank 2 and the rank 3 materials that are going into the thing that you're crafting with your concentration craft, and that's what's making the concentration build so good. Well, unfortunately that seems to be largely working against what's going on with blacksmithing and leatherworking in particular. So there isn't that huge price difference, and because of that there isn't huge profit margins. Even running this character with a multi-craft tool and it's fully specced out in multi-craft in the knowledge tree, I could still barely get over 1,000 gold profit per use of concentration, which is just pathetic. So that is the sort of level that I was getting when I did the engineering video. That was the sort of profit margins I was getting from the engineering parts, and literally said, just don't bother with this because it's just not worth the effort. And that's pretty much what I feel here. Now, to be fair, blacksmithing was slightly better, but it still wasn't. These two professions I just don't think are worth it for concentration builds. As far as when it comes to a setup where we go by the setup I usually go with, which is a really basic setup where you get it all together in sort of a very short amount of time and then you just use it to bring gold. That just does not work particularly well with these professions, and so we are better off sticking with the ones that we've already got. Like I said, I did try. I put a lot of effort into getting up more profession skill, getting up more knowledge, and the profit margins just were not there. So at this point, I've looked at every profession with concentration builds, and it's pretty amazing what you can do as sort of a casual gold maker with these specs set up. So I think it's not particularly difficult to get maybe 150,000 gold profit per character per month set up with two concentration builds. So that sort of, if you do that on 10 characters, that's what 1.5 million gold profit a month, which is, absolutely crazy for the amount of effort you're actually putting into this. Now, enchanting is obviously seems to be by far the best spec to be doing for how easy it is to set up, how cheap it is to set up, and how much gold it makes you. Now, it may not stay like this forever, but if you do set this up, then it's going to do so well in the meantime that it's worth it, even if it does sort of drop off a little bit in the long term. Now, I would run enchanting on every single character, basically, that you want to run concentration builds on. But you need to run a second spec as well to really take advantage of that. Now, there are a few choices here. So the dual crafting gem spec, that seemed fairly solid and seemed to be doing okay. The other one is a tailoring spell threads. That was fine as well. The only problem is that the tailoring market is just up and down. It's all over the place all the time. So it's not just as consistent as perhaps the gems are, even though it is probably a little bit easier and cheaper to set up. Now, the other second choice potential was alchemy, which was a lot more expensive and a lot more hassle to set up, but is probably the only profession that is going to make you more gold as a concentration build than enchanting. And then you've got the other niche choices like sort of inscription with Avantus runes and perhaps engineering with some of the little bits you can do there. But those were the more niche choices. So I think your main thing is definitely enchanting, then maybe the jewel crafting, tailoring perhaps, or probably alchemy if you really want to put that extra amount of effort and gold into getting that one sorted. So I think that's pretty much what the vast majority of players should be doing. Like, I wouldn't suggest, everyone keeps asking, what should I do with crafting? I would not suggest anybody do any crafting. You are just going to lose gold. Just do this. Like 10 characters, 1.5 million gold a month. Yeah, it's going to come down over time, but that is a crazy amount of gold. Do you know how hard it is to make that with crafting at the moment? So even me, with my BIS crafters, like, you're getting less than 10% profit margins, 5% profit margins a lot of the time. If prices change too much, then you can be selling at a loss. And when this is so easy and simple to set up, then just forget about regular crafting. It's just so much more effort when this is so easy and can make you so much gold. Profession at this point, looking at concentration builds and sort of trying to get the best that I can out of them. And we came to some sort of conclusion sort of in the last bit we were just talking about as to what was the best. But I do think this can be min-maxed more. Now, I know it can obviously be min-maxed more by, getting more knowledge, getting more multi-craft, but I mean, that's really obvious. And the idea behind these builds was it was sort of not putting loads of effort in. I'm talking about other ways to min-max. And I've got a few ideas on how we can do that as well. So potentially still come back and look at more of these in the future. I think there's probably potential for slightly different specs as well. So like in the engineering video, where we had the spec by which it was a much more generalized spec, but could cover a lot more. So it was slightly more effort and slightly more cost to set up, but it had a lot more adaptability in being able to craft multiple things and adapt to the market, rather than sort of being all in on one thing. And sort of obviously if that market really crashes, then it doesn't really have much that it can do from there. So I might potentially look at that as well as another way forward with perhaps some more concentration builds as well. So for those of you that asked about leatherworking and blacksmithing, yeah, just for as far as setting up alts with a concentration build, which is basically what I was looking at in this series, then it's not worth it. Just stick to the other stuff. Enchanting plus one other. Now, for any of you that haven't seen the other videos, I highly suggest you check out the playlist. So I'll make sure it pops up in the top left now. The enchanting one in particular is just so easy to make the gold. So easy and so easy to set up. So that is an absolute must. Now, if there's anything else as far as the concentration build basic series has gone, but like I said, we will look at some more stuff potentially. I will play with some more stuff behind the scenes and see if I can do anything else that's worth doing a video about. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.